I'm delivering a speech at Toastmasters in a few minutes, and I'm practicing it one more time before I do. So this is a speech about using storytelling to convey a message, and it's titled, "What Goes Around Doesn't Drown." In the summer of 2010, my friend Douglas and I went to the beach. And whenever we went to the beach, we spent all of our time in the water and none on the sand. We took a break from swimming and went back to the shore, or at least it looked like that. I got to the shore and I saw Douglas swimming towards me, and though he was swimming towards me, he was moving backwards. It looked like he was stuck in a rip current. So I asked him, "Doug, do you need help?" He said, "No, I'm good." A few more seconds passed and he kept moving backwards. I asked again. He said, "No, I'm fine." Then a few more seconds passed and I said, "Doug, do you need help?" And this time he didn't say anything. So I jumped in and went right over to him. When I reached Doug, I grabbed his arm and I also got caught in the rip current. But luckily, there was this guy next to me who wasn't in the rip current, and I grabbed his arm and held on to him. I was able to pull Doug out of the rip current, and we both made it to shore safely. Afterwards, I felt kind of like a hero, and I told some people about this situation, and someone told me, "That is so stupid of you. How do you know you wouldn't have drowned? You have to look out for yourself." Now, all I know is that had I done that, had I not gone to rescue him, I would have been safe, and my friend could have drowned. Or I could have hesitated and then gone in when he was further out and more panicked, and we both could have drowned. Those are the possibilities. The reality is that I did not think, I just went. This is not the type of situation where you sit and analyze and plot your decision. I saw he was in trouble, and I just went for it. And it turned out that the riptide was narrow enough that a person standing nearby could anchor us in, and that Douglas needed me to draw the bridge between him and that other person. And so it happened in reality that I turned out safe, and so did Douglas. 2 years later, in April 2012, my friend John and I went to Ichetucknee Springs, which is one of the gems of North Florida. It has crystal clear water that's 72 degrees year-round, and you can go tubing on a river that's about a mile or two long. Now, 72 degrees sounds like a nice temperature, but in water temperature, that is freezing cold. John and I had one tube to share between the two of us, and we got in the water and alternated who was on the tube. Now today the place was empty, and the water was strangely warm. When there are people around, animals like snakes and alligators get scared away. But today there was just Jay and John. When the water is cold, you get the feeling that snakes and alligators wouldn't be in the water. But again, today was very warm, and began to feel unsafe. And to add to all that, as one of us would get out of the tube and swim, we'd feel really tall grass brushing our feet as our completely submerged body coasted the surface. At some point we decided to turn around and walk back to the dock from which we came. As it turned out, the woods on the side of the river were filled with spider webs and dense grass and those little tree stumps that looked like kneecaps. And that felt like a more likely spot to get bitten by a spider, scorpion, snake, or alligator, and so we decided to swim up the stream. Now, swimming upstream is really difficult, but we were young and strong and we thought we could do it. We made it all the way, almost back to the dock. John was maybe 20 feet behind me, and the water was flowing extra fast because at the dock, the water hit the wood, bent, and came out stronger. I was so close, and I used all my energy and swam and swam and swam. And right as I was at the tip of the dock, I began to look like Douglas, who was caught in a current that he couldn't beat. And what did you know? There was a father and son standing on the dock, and the father saw me in distress and reached his hand out to me. He couldn't reach me, so he got in the water and held onto the dock and reached me. He then got caught in the harsh current, and his son had to hold him. The son pulled the dad, who pulled me, and we all turned out fine. So this is a story about what goes around comes around. If I had not saved Douglas, maybe I would not have been saved that day later. Whether the two events are cosmically linked or whether they're random occurrences, I don't know. But I do know that in both cases, I found myself in danger and someone was right there and helped me. I didn't know who they were, and I didn't talk to them to learn more about their persona. Whether we were ever in any real danger, or if it only seemed that way, I also don't know. But I do know, through two people acting on instinct at the moment they needed to, both Doug and I are alive. You don't need someone's permission to reach out in whatever way when you want to help them. whether they are drowning in the water, or drowning in alcohol, or suffering in whatever way they may be. You don't need to be special, or intelligent, or have your life put together to do so. You simply need to be there for them when they need it. You are also given an almost superhuman strength when you're put into these situations, because there is a strong need that keeps you from idling, or stalling, or wasting time. When Doug was in the riptide, I went straight for him. No looking around, no self-consciousness, no wasteful thoughts. And when I was in the current 2 years later, the father jumped in because he couldn't get me from the dock. He acted on instinct. What you do for someone else can mean more for them than you would ever know. To Douglas, it was the difference between life and death. For me, 2 years later, it was the difference between life and death. So when you see someone in a bad situation, reach out to them without hesitation to make it better. You may get repaid in the exact same way.